Hey guys, if you're enjoying the content that I'm making, please click that subscribe button. Also remember to click that bell button and make sure to tick that box to send all notifications so you don't miss out on any videos. With that in mind, let's get on with the video. What's up guys, welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins logging in to bring you another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. And in this video we're going to be going through the EX fight for Lann and Reynn's event, the Mysterious Siblings from a Mysterious World. First off, sorry that this video is a little bit late than usual. I do try to make it like on the day, but if I do have work, things just get pushed out, and I have been working the PM shift the last few days, and I was meant to try and get this done in the morning and upload it at night. However, I haven't been really sleeping very well because of my accident. It's just keeping me up at night, and so by the time morning comes I still want to sleep because I got work in the afternoon. So forgive me for this late video, but I am getting better, and hopefully I can get these videos out on the day, and or maybe just a day late than usual. So yeah, forgive me for this, but without further ado, let's start this video. Okay, and as always, we start off with the weaknesses, resistances, and the abilities of the last boss. In this case, it is the Chimera Nova. It has a weakness to fire element, but doesn't have any further resistances. And as for its abilities, it has Back Kick, which is a melee HP attack, Heavy Combo, which is a melee brave attack, plus an HP attack, which also removes its own debuffs, frames excluded, and it has Trinity Hurricane, which is it increases its own brave and then does a group fire earth wind magic brave attack plus an HP attack. And of course it has shift change just like any other Chimera, which changes its heads from bear to eagle, eagle to cobra, and cobra to bear. And of course the actions and weaknesses change with its head. Next, it has Brawny Roar, which raises its attack, and this doesn't have any frames, or you can't actually see this buff, so it's like a buff to its, I suppose, natural stat, and that goes with Heaven's Cry, which raises its speed and max brave, and of course with Aegis Roar as well, which raises its defense and its initial brave. Okay, now let's take a look at each individual head. Now the first one that we're going to look at is the bear head, which has a fire and thunder weakness, and as for its abilities, it has Gaia Crush, which is an earth melee brave attack, Stone Blast, which is an earth range brave attack, which also ignores defense, a group Stonega, which is a group earth magic brave attack. As for its eagle head, it has a fire and water weakness. It has Arrow Slash, which is a wind magic brave attack, which also has a high turn rate, Crush Beak, which is a melee brave attack, which also has a high turn rate, and a group or Eroga, which is a group wind magic brave attack. And for its final head, it has Cobra Head, which is weak to fire and wind elements. It has Firaga, which is a fire magic brave attack, Firewall, which is a group fire magic brave attack, and Crimson Storm, which is a group fire magic brave attack, which has a brave damage boosted as well. Okay, so now that we know the weaknesses, the resistances, and the abilities of the Chimera Nova, it's time to take a look at some general tips and guides. And the first one is to save about 70% of your abilities for the boss. Now, they don't actually have a lot of HP. I don't think they have a ton of HP, but they do have a decent amount. So saving those abilities for later, instead of wasting them in the early stages, might help you out here. However, I do feel that because we're sort of ending in the level 60 era right now, you can definitely use your abilities at the start and even with like the lower wave stages right now, and you should still have enough abilities at the end. But if you are a new player and struggling, you probably want to save as much of your abilities as you can. And again, about 60 to 70% should be around the ballpark where you want to save your abilities, and you should be fine. As for the next one, as always, it's going to be to bring in the boosted characters or the synergy characters, and in this case it's Lann and Reynn, and we have Faris, of course, and Edgar, and of course we have Sid as well. As for other characters that you might want to consider, if you don't have any of these other boosted characters, you can bring in Golbez, Quistis, Cloud, Furion, Jet, Thancred, Agrias, Bartz, Paladin Cecil, Lightning, Rosa, Garnet, Ishtola, Lulu, Renoa, Kefka, and Vivi. And for your healer slash brave battery options, again, these are the ones that you might want to consider. So we have Rem, Selphie, Maria, Eiko, and of course Selena is probably the all-time favorite right now, and of course Kate Sith can do pretty well as well. And for the summon, of course, it has to be Ifrit. It is the only level 30 summon that we have right now, plus the boss is weak to fire in all different heads. Okay, now let's talk at some general tips for the fight itself. The first one, of course, is for your support. The ones that I would suggest, it would be Jet, Renoa, Kefka, or Quistis. Now, Kefka is probably one of the characters that will probably make this fight a lot easier, especially if you have his EX. And of course, I think the most important one is having his 15 CP maxed out, and of course it wouldn't hurt you to have his 35 CP maxed out as well, because that will, I do believe, extend a lot of his debuffs. So it's probably something that you want to bring in this case. Jet, of course, is a pretty decent DPS option, especially with his Jet Slash, and pair him up with a Lulu and you'll be wrecking this boss pretty much. Kefka, again, is just to avoid that HP damage, and of course the blind debuff doesn't hurt as well. Now the next tip I have for you guys is to bring in a brave battery slash healer to recover your HP loss, especially if you're not planning to bring Kefka, or you don't have Kefka, or you don't have any friends who have Kefka. Bringing a brave battery is probably a brave battery plus a healer is going to be something that you may want to consider bringing, only because the boss can get pretty aggressive. Which brings me to the next point, that the bosses are quite aggressive, especially when their HP is starting to dwindle down in the reds, or at least halfway through their health. They will try and will not hesitate to use Trinity Hurricane, which will pretty much do HP damage on your team, because it will increase its brave first, and then we'll do a fire, earth, wind, magic brave attack plus an HP attack. So just be careful with that, and make sure you bring those healers with you. And the last one I have is pretty much the gimmick for this boss, which it will buff itself with Brawny Roar, Heaven's Cry, and Aegis Roar, like I mentioned earlier, and these cannot be removed because they are an actual buff from its base stat, I suppose you can call it that way. And it will gain an extra brave attack per buff. For example, once it does Brawny Roar, it will say that it will gain an extra turn, and this extra turn actually only applies for its brave attacks for each head. So for example, it is on its bear head and it gained the extra turn, it will use one of the bear's abilities and then will use an eagle's ability. This does not apply to any of its I guess base abilities, the one that is shared between all three of them. For example, it will not use Trinity Hurricane 3 times because I think that's a bit OP. If it's like that, it's broken, okay? I at least I haven't seen that happen, so it only always uses just one of its abilities for its head. So the trick I found here is towards the end, don't bother if you will get broken, even as much as unless you know, you brave batter yourself to the tens of thousands of brave that you have, and then you won't get broken. But I found that I would just get broken, and I just have to make sure that I break it back. So just make sure you watch that turn count and make sure you're able to break it back. Now let's take a look at some possible party compositions for this fight. The first one, of course, is a mix between all of the boosted characters, Lann and Reynn, with Faris, Sid, or Edgar, with a Lann and Reynn as support, and an Ifrit summon. Now, obviously, you can only pick 3. Honestly, if you have Sid built up, you can pretty much move Edgar out of the way, because Faris is a good debuffer in itself, and honestly you probably won't need Edgar that much. I don't actually know why he's here. Probably for the sap debuff, but in all intents and purposes Faris can pretty much do a lot of the debuffs already, so you should be fine even if you don't have Edgar in your team, unless you know, max limit broke him and you don't have Sid. The main ones here is pretty much Lann and Reynn with Faris and plus or minus the 2. For the next one, I have Rinoa, Lena, and Lightning, and as you guys can see in the video, this is the team that I chose. And this is with a Quistis support. Basically, is the delay tactics. It's back again. You can definitely use the delay tactics in order for you to clear this fight and get that sweet 300k points. And for the summon, of course, I have Ifrit as well. Now the next one is a Jet Lulu combination, and this is to take advantage, of course, the fire weakness in the Fire Imperil plus the Fire Enchant that you're gonna get. Jet is gonna have a happy day with this one, and I just put Sid in there because why not? You can definitely put someone else there, like maybe a Rinoa or something like that, just so you can get extra more oomph in your damage. But it's really gonna be up to you for the last spot. You can definitely bring a healer as well instead. Obviously you want to probably heal some of the damage that you might get. However, the Quistis support here is basically here to make sure you don't get HP damage that much, so you try to delay one of the boss as much as possible, and while you take down one of them. And of course, Ifrit for the summon. And finally, for the last one, this is something that I found in the Call of Arms Reddit, and someone actually used the villains team, which I was quite surprised. I mean, if I had Sephiroth's EX, I would have tried this team as well. But Kefka was something I really considered bringing because I found that the boss likes to use its HP attack. So this is, I do believe, was posted by Scott Ong 11, and this is the return of the villains team as he posted in the Reddit section. So I'm pretty satisfied with this team, and you know, Quistis for support, and of course Ifrit for the summon. Okay, so we are coming to the end of this video, and of course I would like to give you guys my final thoughts with this fight. Now, overall, was this fight hard? In all honesty, it's not as hard as any of the other EX that we've done. Overall, I do believe the like splash damage and AoE damage, especially if you have Lann and Reynn, it will probably make this fight a lot easier, obviously. And of course, if you have meta characters such as Rinoa, Golbez, and especially if you have Lena, this is probably a walk in the park for you. And that's certainly how I felt, because when I used them, it was pretty much walk in the park. Taking advantage of the fire weakness as well will make things a lot easier. Obviously, having Kefka as well is one of the key strategies in this fight, only because he does make things a lot easier with his no HP attacks debuff. And of course that blind helps as well, especially if the boss is attacking you like 3 times in a row. I haven't really tested it yet when it comes to like with the blind. Will it be using just the one blind debuff on all 3 attacks, and if one attack miss, will all 3 miss? So I'm not exactly sure. So if you guys know the answer to this question, please leave it down in the comments below, just so we can help the community out, and that will definitely help me out. So you know, I don't really have to go ahead and try for it. But in any case, like I said, probably not one of the hardest bosses that we've fought. Certainly annoying with those HP attacks, but if you do have a way to counter it, such as good healing and, you know, debuffing them so you don't get as much HP damage, it's gonna make this fight a lot easier. Now, I did do another run of this fight with Lightning, Lena, and Lulu, which I didn't end up getting the 300,000 points, but overall I found that it is an easier clear, obviously, than most EXs. I didn't get the 300,000 points, but that's probably because a lot of the DPS basically Lightning was carrying, and unfortunately Lightning right now is not part of the meta. She's still quite decent, don't get me wrong. I mean, I used her here in this video, but obviously Rinoa has been carrying a lot of the damage in this particular team. And in that team, Lulu, even though she's really good, especially with the Imperil and the Enchant, it's just not the same. She doesn't quite pack a punch because of her 50% HP attacks on both bosses. It just doesn't drain their HP as fast as someone like Rinoa. And Lena, of course, is mostly a support character as well. She doesn't really hit that hard. So my advice for you guys is to obviously just try to balance your team out. But overall, that's it for this video, guys. Remember to click like, subscribe, and share this video if you find it helpful at all. As always, you can follow me on Facebook and on Twitter at Munchkins Gaming. And of course, I want to know which team you use for this team, and leave it down in the comments below. This is Munchkins logging off, and I'll see you guys in the next level.